All right.
Name tag?
Yeah. Oh my God, we should all just like wear name tags. Dude, that'd be funny. No, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching a live chat with Grace and Ashley from Garden Club. I'm your host, Sergio Galeano, and I'm joined by Henri Brooks.
That's me.
Not to be confused with Henry Tyler. Did I just give your secret identity away? I'm sorry.
My cover's been blown.
Oh, no. You guys, we're really happy that you guys came to hang out with us. It was a fun time, fun set. Why don't you guys just give us a little lowdown while this ice cream truck is coming by? Why don't you guys give us the lowdown of, how Garden Club got started, who's who in the band, whoever wants to.
All right. Well, yeah, last year I just kind of realized that the DIY scene here was like super cool, and I knew Grace. I knew she played bass, and I played guitar, and I was like, Grace, we should start a band. She was like, yeah, and then we were like, let's make it a girl band. Who else do we know? and then like I knew Emma. I had just recently met Emma, and I think Emma plays guitar and she sings. That would be cool. Let's ask Emma. And then Emma was totally in. And so Emma sings and plays guitar, and I also sing and play guitar, and Grace is our bassist. And so that was last spring, and then this fall we added Jordan and Ian, Jordan on keys, Ian our drummer. And so that is...
Dude, I like your instruments. I like your bass a lot.
I think my mom bought it for me.
Your mom,
Yep.
I hear that she coordinated the chord with the
She
bass,
did?
which was a smart move.
I have a sparkly red cable. I love it. So does Leslie Powers.
Leslie, that's your mom?
Yeah.
So your name is Grace Powers?
Yeah.
It's a cool name.
Thank
I'm
you.
not gonna lie. I
know.
like Powers.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot.
I tell everyone I meet my name is pretty cool. So, okay, why don't you tell us about your influences? Like, go into essentially why you make no nonsense, like the song about a sock. Give us a lowdown. Why do you guys write songs about socks?
I don't know. I think that we, when we started it, we didn't really want to take ourselves too seriously, and we just wanted to write about things that were we were thinking about, but also fun and lighthearted. Because I know Emma and I listen to a lot of Frankie Cosmos, and then...
I love Frankie Cosmos. Yeah, she's the best.
She's so good. And then Ashley brought in that folk influence. So in a lot of our songs, we have some really cool finger picky interludes, especially in the new stuff that we're working on. And so we all, because we listen to so many different things, it just has a really cool product.
Yeah, it sounds like all of you guys are sort of bringing different influences to the table.
For
which
sure.
Obviously, produces a pretty unique product.
Yeah, that is cool, I
is
gotta
cool.
say.
Yeah, all of us listen to pretty different things.
That's
What about,
ideal.
what are some of the other members of the band? What are they into?
Ian listens to what?
Harsh noise? That's...
So we'll be practicing, and Ian's just back there listening to white noise in his headphones. And whenever we need him to do something, we're just like, hey, and then he's like...
But it's impressive that Ian can pick out the rhythm in that.
Oh, he's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible. We asked him to be our interim drummer while we were trying to find another one. He was like, yeah, I'll fill in. And we were like, okay, cool. And then we all had a secret meeting, and we were like, okay, we're not going to tell Ian, but we really want to keep him.
This is his first time hearing this also. His face is
first time
really
hearing
good.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
So
tell
we're
him.
just never going to look for another drummer.
He's locked in for life.
Yeah, so we just... we hope that he's comfortable and is having a lovely time. And he's not allowed to leave.
He looks pretty comfortable behind the drums.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you guys found a good pick.
Yeah, I gotta say, we've never had this many people on the show. It worked out really well. You guys had a really cool sound. So, tell me about, or I guess, I don't know, this is a question for your keyboardist, but, yeah, how do you guys arrange those kinds of things? Because, for me anyways, it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of having all those different kinds of instruments.
Well, the fact that you guys had, one lineup and then you added more instruments,
Right.
did you guys have music out before you added, the drums and the keyboard?
Yeah.
And how did that change things?
Yeah, we put out a couple demos last spring and then over like the course of the summer, all of us, we went home and we were separated, and so we all wrote new stuff, and then when we came back together, we realized that our sound had changed quite a bit, and it had moved away from like the more like folky kind of sound to what we are now, and Jordan had written a couple like little keyboard parts to some of our songs, and we just were like, yeah, that's like really cool, like we like that a lot, and so we incorporated that into our music, and we really wanted to add like drums as well.
Yeah. No, I gotta say, Ian, you're a good drummer.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So-
Well, drums
We
drums
love
change
you.
everything. You add drums into a song. I mean, in my experience, it's a completely different like reading of the song. No matter what it's trying to say or what the vibe is going to be, the drums are going to change it entirely. So, kudos.
Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you, Ian.
Even though we tricked you into staying with us.
Cool.
No pressure.
All right. So let's move on to what we want to talk about with you guys today. This is something that's been rattling in our brains for a while. The idea of essentially, I don't know, what's the word for that again? It was
Imitation versus inspiration, right?
right. No.
No?
No, ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of how awful we are at producing this program.
Oh, we wanted to talk about like
It was.
I know it was. I got it. Don't worry about it. It's okay, buddy. It's all right.
Sir just got me.
You got it.
I shouldn't be on the show right now.
He's right. No.
So nervous.
So essentially, right, we wanted to talk about the idea of, are artists obligated to keep their music on streaming services? What was that?
Well, that was what we
Good.
talked to. I
Yeah.
realize
No,
my
I know.
mistake now.
That's okay. So essentially, like, how you have a bunch of people like on like, I don't know, SoundCloud and like Spotify, and artists really aren't getting, like, in my opinion, appropriately compensated for all their work. So you have other streaming services like Bandcamp, trying to, fill in the gap where you can actually purchase those things. But like, how do you guys feel about that? About the idea of, do artists have an obligation to, serve their fans? Fan service was the buzzword, Henry. Fan service was fan. Yeah, so fan service. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I mean, I don't think you're essentially obligated to do it, but I do think, like, in this day and age, it's a very good idea, and it's a great way to build a fan base. And if all of a sudden your fan base is so used to having your stuff on Spotify and Apple Music, and then you just take it down in what I think can be seen as a way of to just like want more and more money, I think that there's a chance that you're going to lose a lot of that loyalty that you've cultivated. And
You
worked so
really
hard
think
for.
people would like stop listening?
Well, it's so much harder to access music if it's not on
Right.
the internet. And
Yeah.
Bandcamp is great.
Sure.
Our music's on Bandcamp. Like, you don't have to pay for it at all. But I like that there's that option, and I think that that should be an option
Exactly.
that's more widely used. But, I mean, personally, if somebody isn't on Bandcamp, Spotify, or Apple Music, and I don't love them, I'm not going to go buy a physical copy of it.
Well, it's not always the listener's choice to stop listening to this music. If it becomes inaccessible, that's it. You can't really. You're not going to have the luxury of pulling it up on the spot. You're gonna have to spend money on it.
Exactly.
No one wants to do that.
And, like, no one has a CD player anymore. Cars don't have CDs. Your laptop doesn't have a CD drive.
That made me so sad.
I
Mine
know.
does.
It's
Yeah,
just-
I
it's
have
hard
a
to
CD
access.
port in my car. So
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I still buy CDs. I don't use any streaming services because I'm very passionately against them.
Really?
I am, yes. I hate streaming services. However, I do agree with Grace that, I think it is good for artists to have, their music on streaming services because that's what most people listen to nowadays, and it makes it easier, and it helps, bands like us and, smaller bands build a fan base and, get heard, And it's a lot easier than if we don't put anything out on any streaming services and we're only you can only listen to our music if you pay for it.
exactly, or you can only give out CDs at
Yeah.
shows you play.
Right.
So you only listen to music on CDs then? You don't have music on your phone?
I do, yeah. No,
Okay.
I use iTunes, but I buy all my
Okay.
CDs,
Okay.
or I buy it off of Bandcamp.
Right. See, this idea came about because a band that we listened to that's actually from Henry's hometown, Deal Casino. They had music up on Spotify, and I loved their music. And then they removed a lot of their songs. Like
They removed all older music.
yeah, it was older music.
Because they're sort of going through a rebranding or a transformation in their sound, and they chose to take earlier music off streaming services and only sort of keep on key songs like on their SoundCloud.
So I guess the question really is like truly, don't artists like have the right to have control over the kind of image they want to project in the world, the kind of like Taylor Swift, like she like purposefully removed all the stuff from Spotify to make a point.
But
right?
see, that's
Here we
I
go.
will get very heated over Taylor Swift. She's making a lot of money. She's making 10 times more money than Deal Casino is making,
Yeah.
I mean, just in the nature that she's a global artist. So when she takes her music off YouTube and, Spotify and these services that make it accessible for young people or really people of any age who want to listen to their music for inspiration and because they love her music, it becomes this thing where they can't do that anymore. Which is wrong.
I mean, you should have all the control over your music that you can. Like, it's what you've made, it's your art, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily should, and it's necessarily going to be a positive thing for your brand. I mean, I'm all for artists having control, but I don't think that's the way to do it.
Okay. No, I get that. That makes sense.
It makes sense. It's in the control of the artist, but it's not always the right or the best move for your fans.
Totally get it. Yeah. So
That was a nice conclusion that we just came to. Good job, boss.
we figured it out.
I cracked the code.
Here at Live Sound, we solve problems in the world. So why don't you guys tell me what you brought for us to talk about today?
So we wanted to talk about being women in the DIY like whole scene because all of us except Ian are all women. So it's well, I mean Irene.
Ian has a really nice wig.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Well, I mean, okay, I'm not a woman, nor am I in the.
Wait a minute.
I need to tell you. No. Nor am I in the DIY scene really, other than a huge fan. But I can't tell you how strange it is for me in this day and age for people to be surprised that there is an all-girl band in existence, right? Like for example, like a Philly band, wonderful gals, Queen of Jeans, might come on the show in June. Looking at you, love you guys. Okay, so they, they're an all-girl band, except for I think they have the same setup as you guys, where they have like a male drummer, and like it's like every time I show them off, they're like, oh, they're an all-girl band, and I'm like, yeah. They're like,
Why is that?
Yeah.
So like.
Well, I mean, it's been really interesting because like before we started playing shows and stuff, at least for myself personally, I've heard a lot of like horror stories about women in like the music industry and just always getting like talked down to and like just treated so differently and like as if we don't know anything about anything. And so like I sort of almost was like, oh gosh, that's gonna be interesting. But I've been surprised. It's been really nice, and we've actually played a lot of shows with a lot of other like female musicians, which has been awesome and just really cool. And
like
it's oh shoot, who was
We had Rachel and Beachbod play our first show with us,
Oh,
which was
right,
a
right,
Planned
that was so
Parenthood
good.
benefit.
Beachbod was supposed to be on this show.
It's true.
And
But
Beachbod is
unfortunately could not come.
life happens,
Yeah.
family, and Easter, whatnot. Happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah, we're recording this on Easter, ladies and gentlemen. When you see this, it won't be Easter.
sorry, Mom. Sorry, I'm not with you right now. I'll see you at dinner.
Sorry, Julia. I'm sorry. Yeah, so no, that's really cool.
But yeah, we've been joined by a ton of really great female musicians, and it's always fun to play a bill that's just like stacked with girl bands.
Yeah.
But then it's also I think we've had a couple experiences where we were the only female musicians on the whole bill, and there were like 4 or 5 bands, and it wasn't weird, but it was like, oh, like this seems odd.
Yeah.
Like the ratio is just a little bit off. But I mean, it's still fun. Like we're treated exactly the same.
Yeah.
and,
It's
like,
interesting that it seems nowadays that people are sort of trying to, at least in my observations, it seems that people, create these like all female driven bills, with intention. But wouldn't you say that the goal would be to, integrate the two and sort of have like strike a better balance rather than having like shows you can go see all male artists and then shows you can go see all female artists,
Yeah, I agree. Because I think it's kind of hard when you brand yourself as like a girl band. You never know if people are booking you because like, oh, we need like a token girl band because that's the thing right now, or if they're like actually booking us because like their music is great.
Exactly.
And
Which is
so-
what it should be about, flat out, no exceptions. I know that it's so important in today's time to, foster diversity and community and equality and acceptance, and all of that stuff is so important, and it's happening, which is really good.
Yeah.
But I think it should get to a point where it's not about, booking shows because they're diverse. I think it should be about booking shows because the bands are great and because the music is great. And it's sort of becoming a point where you don't really see any of that because it's not at the forefront because it's ingrained in everybody, right? I mean, that's what I think.
When we talk about like being talked down to, like the one thing that we have found is people come up to us and they're like, oh, like your music is really cute, and we're kind of like, wait,
Yeah.
I know what you mean by that. And it's tough, but your music is really, really great, regardless. So just to say that, like, really great stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing. New music.
Where can people hear you? Why don't you?
We are on Bandcamp.
Okay.
That I think is our only where we have music right now. Yeah. but
As
we're-
Garden Club or
as
Garden Club Band? Okay.
Yep, just Garden Club. And right now we're working on some new music, and hopefully when that gets put out, we're gonna look to put it on other platforms and streaming services and iTunes, hopefully, and all of that.
so then when we're like millionaires, we can just take it all.
Yeah.
Swift.
That'll be the day.
Yeah, so, but you're also on Facebook, right?
Yeah, we're also on
Garden Club-
Facebook.
Garden Club Band or Garden Club?
Garden
Yeah, I think it's just Garden Club.
All right, so like them on Facebook, like us on Facebook.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having
talking
us.
about important things. This was I think it was a really worthwhile conversation.
Definitely. And yes, thank you for watching.
And I'm really sorry about messing up that second topic.